Namaste. I wanted to share the story of my journey, how I reached this place exactly. This is not my story, it's more of the story of the Divine Mother's grace, I think. And I wanted to share this to let people know, devotees know, that how much you are taken care of by the Divine. This was the time before androids were in much use, and of course I didn't have smartphones or any access to internet, so getting information was very difficult. So the only thing I had got to know was that Anand Vihar bus stand at Delhi was the main bus stand from where I could get buses towards this Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh, because I had already planned to go to the Himalayas, and I didn't know exactly where I would stay or where I would go, but just that I wanted to go to the Himalayas for my solitude and for my sadhana. So I left the ashram, which was situated at Hauskhas, Sardamat, the center of Sardamat, and I reached Andhra Bihar bus stand by metro. After reaching there, when I asked about, the bus for Haldwani was readily available there. It was standing and it was about to start. So I got up the bus, and one more lady, this Priyanka Joshi, she came and sat just beside me, and we got acquainted with each other. When we reached Haldwani, it was already about 7:30 or 8 in the evening, and Priyanka Joshi, she offered that I stay at her home because she was living alone and there wouldn't be any problem. And she had a maid servant working at her house. She would arrange for everything. So beforehand, she called up her maid servant and told her to prepare dinner for 2 people and also prepare some snacks with tea for 2 people. And when we reached her house in Haldwani, we had our tea and snacks, and then chatted for some while, and then had our dinner. And she was very loving and took care of me. And when in the morning after breakfast, she even packed parathas for my onward bus journey and gave also 200 rupees for my journey. And she arranged that I be taken to the bus stop again at Haldwani. And when I reached the bus stop at Haldwani, I saw that the bus for Almora city was starting from there. So I got up the bus. It was early in the morning when I started from Haldwani. So I reached Almora at about 9:30 or 10, and I got 2 packets of biscuits, filled water in my bottle, and again started. Like the bus for Bageshwar via Takula was starting from there. So I got up the bus. I didn't know where to go. Of course, I continuously prayed to the Divine Mother that may she let me know beforehand where to get down and where to go, so that she might arrange for me as I wanted. And when the bus was passing from this highway, I felt this tremendous urge, like somebody was pushing me, and I felt this, I should get down the bus. So I told the bus to stop, and I got down, and they left. And there, just above the road, a little above the road on the hilltop, I saw this gate. This gate could be seen from the road. And when I got up there on that place, I saw that it was a small hilly temple, and the deities were just stones which were kept there, and I couldn't understand which deity the temple was dedicated to. And there was a small shelter just beside the temple, and I settled there. And I stayed there for 9 days, including this day, the day that I reached, and 9 nights. On the 10th day morning, and people ask, how did I manage? Well, it was divine grace, I would say. And people who think that, well, that was tough. But the thing is that at first you will be tested, isn't it? Even the Divine will test your determination, how determined you are and how willing you are to stick to your decision. And I knew there was a center of our ashram at Almora, and there was a choice that I could either leave and go back home, or I could go back to my ashram. But I kept praying to the Divine Mother that I won't go back to the ashram, neither would I go back home. And Mother, you have to arrange for me so that I can carry on with my sadhana. And I didn't move from there. I didn't go here and there. I didn't think that, well, there's nothing here, so let me move on and go to a village and, try and, arrange things for myself. I didn't think like that. My thought was that the Mother will arrange for me, because that is always the best thing that can happen, the arrangement of the Divine. Because I had already set my priorities. I had already told Mother that I needed a secluded place and for sadhana, and the rest, like, Mother, you have to manage and you have to arrange for the rest. Even I can't imagine. So on the 10th day morning, the villagers of this village, they met me there on the hilltop, and they told me that, well, you can accompany us to the village and everything will be arranged for. And they brought me here. And even during that time, like when I just arrived in the village, the people, or the few people who gathered around me, and everything was, it kind of grace flowed through all the people, and everybody was caring and loving, though I was a complete stranger to them. And at first they arranged for my stay in a house, in the village house, where there was this mother and 2 daughters. And later on, this dharmashala, this pilgrim shelter, this was like everything was arranged here, like the cot, the blankets, utensils for cooking food, and everything, all the daily necessity, the mugs and water buckets, etc. Everything was arranged for. And after living 10 days with them in that family, I came and settled here. So, like, how nicely, isn't it? How smoothly things can be arranged by the Divine, even though, like, we feel like, where will I go, what will happen, how would things be arranged for. Like, you don't have to worry about anything. You just have to worry about your own determination. Like, if you are determined enough, the Divine will take care of everything. So that was the journey, how I reached here. And after reaching here, after settling in this dharmashala, because I couldn't cook my food in firewood at first, so even then I was dependent on the villagers, and they supplied me my meals all the time for maybe a month or 2, and later on I got used to this cooking in firewood. That wasn't for many months, and after a few months I because there was electricity here, there was water here, and everything was as if made ready for me to come and start living here. My mother supplied all those things for me, and they came and visited me after 3 months. I told them later on that I had reached this place and I had settled. So after getting the news, they came to see me, and they brought all the other things that I needed. And from then on, it was 2013 September that I came and settled here. So since that time, now it's 2022, it's May, and I'm still, living here. And this place has a very powerful vibe, because many years ago, it's said, the villagers told me that sadhu used to live here and do his tapasya. Takhadgiri Babaji, he used to live here and do his tapasya. For maybe 20 to 30 years he had lived here in this village, sometimes here and sometimes in the Shiv Mandir. So this place is almost charged, and sitting here, watching nature, watching the hills, watching the sky, the birds, everything becomes kind of meditativeness. So it's wonderful to be living here, and couldn't have been better, the arrangement of the Divine. So it's a story of divine grace that I shared with you, and I hope this story inspires others to follow their own hearts, to follow their own intuition, and be determined with it, and the Divine, trust that the Divine will help you out. Jai Ma, Jai Ma.